We're doing an interview right now. Jermaine Dupri, say, give it up.
Yeah.
Jermaine, would you consider yourself a legend?
I don't know. Nah, I don't think about it really. But I do. I think that the word bothers me a little bit sometimes.
Talk about it. Why?
I don't know. Yesterday I was on the Huffington Post live, and I left, and Timberland came. I saw Timberland on here too yesterday, but Timberland came after me, and I was looking at my interview, and it said the legendary producer. That's what it said about me. Then when he came, it said the Grammy Award winning producer, and I'm like,
wait a minute.
Why I can't get Grammy Award winning? I did that too. I don't know why.
Does legend sound old and kind of finished to you?
Yeah, it does. It sounds like legend, like I don't know,
like the
story of legend.
Yeah, I don't know. I steer away from that. I don't know.
And people overuse it too. Like I meet kids who are let's say 24 now, so they've been listening to me since they were 15, 16, and they go, "Yo, you're a legend, bro." And I go, A, no, I'm not. I wish I was. I'm not. And B, yes, it inherently makes you feel old as hell, even if it's respectful. It's like, but once you, for example, when you come in here and we're still doing interviews and you're 60 years old, I think it's okay to embrace that legend.
Well, and also legend, I think, refers to story. Like your resume, the Jermaine Dupri brand, the name is storied, right? Like you have done a lot and contributed a lot to this game, and you're still contributing with your new show.
Yeah, I really don't mind people saying it. I think that it has it's a piece of cloth that everybody can't have, right?
It's a special cloth.
Yeah, so
special cloth alert.
Yeah, it's a special cloth alert. So I'm cool with. Me personally, I'm not getting ready to be like, yo. Somebody say, well, how you want to be introduced? Say legendary.
Right.
I'm not.
I am, if you were a wrestler, like the legendary Jermaine Dupri.
Nah, don't do that.
Your suit is nice. I've never seen this side of you. I mean, I've seen it on television, but I've never seen you actually moving around suited up. Now you're an executive on a show. You have two shows, actually.
Yeah.
One is in the 5th episode, which is the one on Lifetime.
This Friday is the 5th episode on Lifetime, and then I got a new show on BET called Moguls that comes out June 28th, the day after. Right after the BET Awards. It's with me, Birdman, Snoop Dogg, and Dame Dash.
Tell us a little bit about the rap game.
All right, so the rap game is, for anybody that don't know, it's a show where I take 5 young rappers, 12 to 16, and bring them to Atlanta and basically put them through the Jermaine Dupri boot camp. And it's basically what I did was I took kids that I saw on the internet that had good numbers or big numbers or whatever you want to call it, and that think they already stars and that want to be stars, and put them in a house and take them through a real course of what it actually takes to be what they want to be, as opposed to what they think they are.
And that's the live performance, the recording,
everything,
the meeting deadlines, and
dressing, everything, interviews, everything the real artist development happens on this show.
And what have you learned on the show? Because I mean, obviously, me as somebody who has been on the inside, you hear people who think they're ready for prime time all the time, and I'm sure you've worked with tons of young artists. What have you learned on this show?
One of the things I learned immediately was that the internet makes people believe that they don't need people like me. Makes artists believe that. One of the kids' parents actually said, I don't even know if we win, I might not even sign to JD. Like, so it makes people believe they don't need people like
because
us.
they're already getting feedback from fans.
Yeah,
they're already getting bookings and things like that.
Which is not real though. That's what I'm saying. They just don't really understand it. So it's really like it's really a breaking and a reality check for people to see.
So let's stay right there for a minute. You say people like you, right? An executive in overseeing the completion of records, sonically, the mixing, the creating, the marketing, like all of those things.
Everything.
Can you articulate why it is? I mean, I know, but for the people watching right now that may say, yeah, we don't need people like you anymore.
Well, I mean, personally to me, the most successful rappers ever in rap have always had a quarterback. I don't care who you are. Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 50 Cent, Biggie, Tupac, I mean, the list goes on. You have to have a quarterback. Even Lil Wayne and Baby, one of them plays the pass and the other one plays to go get the pass. You have to. That's where I come from. I don't know.
Well, is that an old, outdated, based on what you see happening for artists right now?
No
is
way.
that an outdated?
No way. It's still.
blueprint?
It's to me. That's still the problem with some artists that we see that's like at this one spot, but they just can't tip it over. I just believe it's because they don't have that quarterback.
That's very
And I'm sure
interesting.
you guys know
Yeah.
the artists that I'm talking about. There's some that's just they right there, but they just don't have that.
They
flip.
haven't allowed a team to gather around them and really help them move, package them, direct them, focus them.
And where they don't have you say quarterback, I would almost, you could also use the word coach, right? Like
same thing.
Or
Yeah.
a coach that has their ear.
Yeah, I mean, because at some particular times you have to have somebody that pushes you to do a little something different than what you actually are locked into doing.
And it helps you see things that you can't see because you're too close to it.
Or that you don't go out. You know what I mean? You just don't like anybody around me. They don't party as much as I do. So you can't tell me what's happening in the club. Like if we have a conversation about that, I'm gonna win. So like I'm not saying you should listen to me, but I'm gonna win that conversation because I'm in the club.
Yeah,
And also people who have experience. How many times have we seen new artists that employ their brothers or, family members just because they want to keep them with them as they move up? You know what I
Well,
mean?
it's interesting.
And they don't have experience. And
Well,
they
that-
really
that-
don't know what they're doing too.
We addressed that on the show too
Yeah.
because every artist, their parents is in the house with them. So it's kids and their parents inside this house. 5 kids with their parents in this house together.
gosh. The show
the
should be called
parents-
Nightmare.
So the parents are actually this week. The parents really start getting at each other. If you want to see this, you really yeah.
This sounds entertaining.
Yo, the
Oh, no,
the
it's-
momagers.
Oh no, that's what it is.
Friday nights on Lifetime.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
All right. Yeah, because you think about that, Ebro, it's almost like what we were discussing with LeBron and Tyronn Lue, right? Like if you set up, because a lot of artists come in here and they're LeBron, only they're not LeBron, with Tyronn. In their mind, they're LeBron, but they definitely have some Tyronn Lues around, and they have someone who's like, oh, this is my manager, this is my so and so, but the person they have is someone who really just handles stuff. They're really a glorified assistant, is what they are, because they don't listen to them, they don't have experience to tell them what to do, as opposed to the people you're talking about, like, and you can even look at the people in the underground are successful. The Odd Future relationship with Clancy, they have a manager who
Clancy's the coach.
Clancy is so like
Look,
Tyler's the quarterback.
I
Clancy's
always
the
say
coach.
that's why Brady's won more Super Bowls than Manning, right? I mean, because Brady,
It's so interesting.
Brady would go out there. He calls some plays, but Belichick,
Yeah,
that's the coach.
I mean, you got. Listen.
Manning used to get out there and he would be like, I got this, and run his own things, and he doesn't have as many rings.
Never had that one coach.
I just believe in it. That's where I come from. I just believe in it. I don't know.
Well, and you did it multiple times. You're a coach who coached. You got Super Bowls with multiple teams.
Yeah, I just believe. Yeah, I think that's what you gotta have.
And no, so a lot of people are going to come at you and say, "Oh, but you're a dinosaur now." The time when you found Kriss Kross, that was 20-some years ago. The game is so different. There was no internet.
What about the Brad?
Yeah.
What about
Jagged
helping
Edge?
Bow Wow?
No,
Jagged Edge.
No, too long ago.
Yeah,
Long ago.
Too long ago.
What about them franchise boys?
Yeah.
What happened to them franchise? What happened to them?
Franchise boys. Are they still around?
Did they not? Were they not listening at the time? Because you guys had a massive.
I
hit.
left. It was partially probably my part on it. I don't want to take the fault, but I believe that I left Virgin, and they had to stay. Because I was the president of Virgin, so I didn't sign them to So Def directly. I signed them to So Def Virgin at that time because I was the president. So they were signed to that label. I went to Def Jam at that point, and they had to stay over there. And when they put out their next record, it just didn't work.
Ooh, did they feel like you abandoned them?
They probably did, but I mean, I didn't really. It was a business,
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
business. I took a job that I shouldn't have taken, or took, or whatever the word is, and
So you feel
Virgin started making different moves, and I had to make my move.
Let's go to the executive label talk. You've been inside multiple labels, started labels, done your own thing, ran marketing campaigns, So Def, all of that. The record label today that you see as sitting on the outside doing your other work, are they relevant?
Not totally to me. I believe that now we have artists, as artists, and producers or whatever, CEOs, we have to find a way to launch our music in a much broader scope. That's like what I'm doing with this TV show. I feel like this is the biggest platform I've ever had to put out an artist. So one of these artists win, I put them out on Social Def. I mean, it's 2 million people watching this show a week. So I don't, inside a record company, you can't find that many people.
Are you trying to sell records now? What's your business model? Is that
I'm gonna try to sell records off this artist. I believe people still buy music. I just think that it's just not being presented in the right package, and we just, as a culture, we just throwing music out here and believing that people gonna buy it. That's not a package that nobody puts a Benz. They don't just put a Benz on the street and tell you to buy it. You got to go to the store. Everything else you still got to go to the store. We treat our music very opposite than anything else that's sold.
As a throwaway.
Yeah. Well, isn't it odd that the main purveyors of music now are people whose primary business is not music? So whether it's Target, whether it's Apple, whether it's Best Buy, all the places that happen to sell music, that's not what their business is. It's a little bonus thing that they do. Yeah, we lost the actual music retailers whose primary business was music.
We still got a flavor, though. Flavor still matters. Cool still matters. Fresh still matters. These words still matter. If nothing is fresh on iTunes, ain't nobody going over there, right? And we keep putting freshness in these places. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right about what you're saying, but they still keep surrounding it by what we give them that's hot and fly and fresh and whatever word you want to use for the flavor of the
culturally impactful.
Yeah, it's still culturally impactful. So I mean, you're right. But at the same time, people not wearing Beats because they great headphones, and somebody might be mad at me, but that's not the reason people wearing Beats because they know and trust and love Dr. Dre. That's it, and they box that up, put the trust,
made it
love,
nice. Yep.
and put that in a box and sell that.
Got a check. Ooh, you got a check.
Who?
Dr. Dre's check. I mean, Jimmy and Dr. Dre's check off of that.
But they really did.
Off of knowing that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all they did. They boxed up the trust and the love. If you're going to buy headphones from anybody, why wouldn't you buy them from Dr. Dre?
By the way, it's so crazy when you really stop and think about that. Like, we spent our whole life living in a world in which everyone had different headphones. And everyone had different headphones. And now, basically, when you're out, if you see anyone who's like young and of the generation at all, they all have Beats. Everyone has Beats.
Because
there's some other nice headphones. You're wearing the Khaled's H6s. There's some nice headphones out there, but everyone has Beats.
Because everyone doesn't have the love and the trust. You don't know who works at Bose.
Monster and
Sony.
You don't know who works at Sony. You don't know who works at this headphone company that Khaled has. You don't know. All you know is that this company went to Khaled. You know Dr. Dre supposedly made them headphones.
He was in the lab putting them together.
He wired them shits up.
Nah. Hell yeah. Turn that up. Oh, hell yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what you believe, right? That's what you bought. That's what you're buying.
Dre in there sewing the leather on that.
Hey, yo, headphone guys, is Dre.
Yeah, that's what they believe.
I'm going to call them Beats by Dre.
So Jermaine, right now you have the TV shows, you have everything happening for you. We don't really hear much about your personal life the way we used to.
Yeah.
But Janet is out here touring, doing amazing things. Do you guys still speak?
No. Do you still speak to your ex?
Yeah, some of them.
I don't really.
Do you really, Ebro? We don't know.
I mean,
I don't think it's really safe for me to speak to none of my exes.
Oh.
Because then their prior people will become their exes.
Right. So it's not even friends.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just, I mean,
that's how some people move, though.
But I will tell you.
Everyone's different.
But I will tell you, if you want to get some of the stories of Janet, we did get him to spill some on when me and Syfe had him on Epstein.
That one, that podcast.
I want Epstein. He told us a few.
He's just saying that so y'all go to it.
No, exactly. He did. No, he didn't give dirt.
He didn't my podcast popping right now.
No. I'm not saying.
Let's go see what they talk about.
I'm not saying he gave dirt. There was no dirt.
It wasn't.
There was no dirt. But you did
dirt.
But you did give us just like some insight. So like.
I mean, it was part. I mean, I was with her for 8 years. That's like a lifetime.
God, every time you say that, it reminds me how much I used to hate you. Every time you said, I just look at you and I'm like,
it's like a lifetime.
How many people you come across that approach you and go, yo, I used to hate your guts. You was with Janet Jackson.
Everybody. I feel like that's to black people. That's my biggest accomplishment.
You're not wrong.
I swear to God, I did an interview. Big deal. I did an interview the other day where I had to call into Detroit, and and it was about the rap game. We were supposed to be talking about my show, and the dude just was like, "Yo, I'm not even gonna front, man. It's the first time I ever talked to you, and this is the first time you're on my show, and I'm just you smashed Janet." And I'm like, dog, can we have a conversation about something else, man? And he's just like, yo, I just can't get past that. Like,
how'd you do it?
Yeah,
You're a god.
What did you say? I'm like, this is my greatest accomplishment. Huh?
Yo, did you? Is that how? I was
guessing.
I was gonna ask you this when you brought it up, though. You said that Virgin wasn't a job that you should have taken. Did you end up that you should not have taken? Did you end up at Virgin because of Janet, or is that how you met Janet? But it's not coincidence, right?
No, I was with her prior to me going there.
And did that build the relationship there, or was it all kind of coincidental?
No, I mean, I think they probably felt like they needed me to talk to her for their communication,
right? To help as a liaison,
to be a liaison for them and her. But no, I went there because I was at Arista prior to that, and one of the guys that was at Arista went to Virgin, and he was the boss, and he just decided to bring me, to follow him.
Let's talk Atlanta hip hop.
Yeah, I know you feel like it's over. I
feel like the trap sound. I feel like the trap sound. Future's the last thing on the trap.
Yeah, you should have said that then, because you really got people in Atlanta like
they're tight. Good. They need to tighten up.
Yeah, but he likes doing
that.
He throws in. He wants
to tighten up. Y'all bars fell off. Y'all bars have fell off out there. There's only a couple people with bars out there.
Hey man.
So how do you
I've had the longest ATL run that you know. I've been coming up here before you was
man.
Before he was anything. Before he was here.
For sure. And we're going to talk about the Welcome to Atlanta. Fall off. But you don't believe it's going to fall off, and you're on the scene there. Talk to us about what you're seeing in Atlanta musically that you really love.
Well, I mean, I think it's the same. You know what I mean? I just think that it's a separation. I think the copycatness of New York and LA not so much, but in every other place in the world.
Copying that sound.
Copying our sound dilutes the Atlanta music scene. That's what really
prompted my statement.
That's what you're actually feeling. You're feeling it's no separation in it. When I put out the Franchise Boys, when I put out Bone Crusher, when I put out the Young Bloods, no music on High 97 sounded like them three artists.
Nope.
Right? So they had their own run. It was like, if you play these three records, that's the Atlanta set. It's always been like this. It's Atlanta set. Now you play Future, and it's 10 other artists that sound just like his record, and you don't.
Some are from here.
You don't even know if they
from
Atlanta or where they from. You don't know where they from.
And once I saw Ellen DeGeneres do the dab, I was like, "Oh, their days is numbered."
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know about that. Why, when we get something popular, it's numbered?
Nah, it's not we. It's not like an Atlanta thing. If it would have, when it happens to any region that gets that thing that goes so mass. It goes so mass appeal.
Yeah, but that don't happen here in New York, though.
It did. That's what ended us. That's what ended New York.
Well, nah.
Bad Boy happened, and it did.
When 50 look, and I've said this before, 50 Cent got so big at a certain point that it was so mass, and because of the issues he had with other artists, nobody wanted to work together. Nobody.
Yeah, but that's
not what's happening in Atlanta.
But I'm just saying it was so.
That was the end of 50?
No, I think that's what fractured the New York music scene in some ways, is because it wasn't a collective creation of music.
Yeah, but I mean,
right?
but that's what I'm saying. And
I'm not saying Atlanta's gonna happen that way. I'm just saying when things go that mainstream, generally speaking, hip hop and really all kind of music genres, rock and roll, rock does it, country music does it. When a certain artist or something goes so mainstream, that core base shifts a little bit. That's all. It goes back underground. That's all.
I just think that we have to get hip hop, period, back to its sections. And what I mean by that is this person doing what he does, this person doing what he does, and this person doing what he does. That's why this TV show is so big to me. I got my numbers yesterday, so I can say it's a hit. You can say whatever you want to say about Jermaine Dupri. I make hits over here, and I got hits over here too.
Congratulations, man! Got a TV hit too. Yeah, congratulations.
You think people slight you? You said that like you think people slight you a little bit.
Yeah, of course. They act like I didn't make Confessions. They act like I ain't make.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, that you mean that back there? The 9 million joint. There's a 10 million joint too.
Yeah.
I got it locked on the wall.
They act like I didn't do that, but whatever. It's the hit TV show, and what I'm saying is that it's an area of people where people don't even pay attention to. Like I was telling you, it's kids that's 12 to 16 that's out here that don't have one lick of music in the urban music world. They have pop music. They don't have one artist, urban, singer, rapper, pianist, drummer, whatever you want to do. Nobody makes music for this group of people. And
specifically, you're saying for the young black kids, for black artists, Spanish artists, or urban artists.
Yeah, urban artists. It's been 14 years since I put Bow Wow out, and nobody's put anything out close to him in 14 years. That's ridiculous. That's just retarded to me. But I mean, hey.
And so, but we look at what is it? Silento. That's a big.
Yeah, Silento is. I mean, probably the closest thing. But at the same time, you know, real true hip hop gods like yourself don't consider Silento's music as hip hop.
It's a dance record. It's a cute dance record.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't go into the category of
because let's get to these raps. Let's get to these bars.
I like what you said, Jermaine, earlier about people need to do what they do, because that is one of the things that I find really irritating. And I think you're right about how it's diluted the music. The fact that everyone does the same thing is what dilutes the music. Like, I have artists who have sent me songs who I heard rapping one way 2 years ago, and then they send me a record now, and it's like they're doing the Travis Scott, Kanye, Future, singy thing. Yo, I'm not bullshitting. We love a lot of those songs, a lot of great music there. I'm an old nerd, but I'm not such an old nerd that I don't enjoy that shit.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy it the same way has always been true in this music. If you just blatantly jack someone's shit,
but they don't
mess up the culture.
Just like he said, this generation don't know nothing about jacking nothing. That word don't even exist.
No, because it's just what you do.
This era of hip hop, jacking don't exist.
Yo, do you know how much? I'm not telling you.
No, you would get ostracized. Like, people would make fun of you if you was a copycat. Yeah, you may have a radio hit. You know what I'm saying? There's people who was copycats in the 90s and made radio hits, right?
Yeah.
You'd be a joke though.
But as far as like hip hop culture is concerned, people's laughing.
Guys,
but look, I said this on Twitter too. There's cats making that are young, 20 years old, whatever, and Future's been hot for the last 5-6 years of their life, right? So they think that's what they was raised on. That's the heat they was raised on.
Yeah, and kids nowadays, they don't want to do research anymore.
Well, no, and they just, the regional thing is lost. Like, it's just the internet. It's wherever the heat comes from. That's what I like. Like, they don't really process that. And so they're making, and their sound is like Future. And I'm like, yo, if you live in New York and the tri-state, you know, cats is laughing if you trying to sound like you from somewhere else. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they don't really know. So then it's tough. Like, I'm going to critique them just because that's what I do, right? Yeah. And somebody's supposed to sit here and be like, nah, this bullshit. This the real. Somebody got to say it, whether y'all like me or not. But on the other side, I could argue this kid who was 14, 15 is now 20, 21. Future's the shit.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to be like the guy that I love and be influenced by? Like, I could look at it from both sides. So, you know, some of that is just, but look, at the same time, we talking about that, radio and media, we take the copycats because we know it's the easiest way to find a hit. So we take sound-alike records and be like, well, if y'all like this, then you're probably going to like this.
Exactly.
And you're probably going to like this too.
Which is how we're to blame, too.
And that's the role we play, right? Because there's definitely artists from our area, the tri-state, right, that the DJs up here ain't playing. And that's because the strippers ain't A&R in them records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those records don't go around in strip club. They don't get strippers extra tips, and they don't get you bookings. So the DJs ain't playing.
I also think that's another reason why when you say the Atlanta sound is pretty much over, it's not, because New York has adapted Atlanta culture.
Yeah, strip club.
You're right.
So it's gonna be forever here until y'all stop.
Yeah, I do disagree. I do disagree with your statement that Atlanta's.
Yeah, it's not gonna stop. I
want y'all to disagree, but hopefully y'all gonna listen to something else.
No, but listen,
you do agree.
It's not even about listening. It's about the culture. I've been coming to New York for
25 years.
Since I was 16 years old. In 92,
Dancing
I put out
for a Houdini.
Yeah, I put out. Well, I was prior to that.
Course,
in 85, I started coming. I lived in Brooklyn in 1985.
All on the One Epstein podcast, if you want to hear it. Whole biography. Okay. Sorry.
And I grew up in Brooklyn from 84, 85, 86. You know what I mean? I used to come to New York, and the culture here used to be so shocking to my body that it was so much difference to what's going on in New York than where I was from, Atlanta. And to come here now and see everybody talking about strip clubs every night, in clubs that don't actually get butt ass naked. By the way, you can't.
It's not even a strip
You're not
club.
gonna get my money here in New York. I'll tell you, they probably hate me because I'm not throwing money on no girl that's got clothes on. Because in Atlanta, I could throw $10 and I could see
This
your
is a man
entire
with
insides.
standards.
Oh, Jermaine.
You don't,
He's
Man,
not
let's not
throwing
have-
money
let's not
on
have
a
birth
not
canal
naked
talk.
ass bitch.
That's
let's
a bit
not have
much.
birth canal talk, bro.
I'm just saying, like, you gotta understand, I come from where it really is. It's real where we come from. To come to a place and see people throwing money at girls that's half naked is like you're being robbed. Like, I see people spending thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yo, you might as well just talk to her in a room, talk to her in the ear, and take her to your room.
But Jermaine, how bugged is it? Not only that, not only is it strip clubs every night of the week, just like you're in Atlanta, they're going out. People are going out to the boroughs. It's like they literally are recreating Atlanta, like going out to a random ass place where you go to some sort of boony-ish strip club, which is kind of Atlanta to some extent. Like you're not.
It's 100% Atlanta. That's
It's
what I was
bizarre.
saying. I said this to. I had a friend in Atlanta that's from Queens, and I was telling him this the other day. I'm like, yo, I've been going to New York a long time, yo, and when I was working at Arista, I did Atlanta versus New York at Sue's Rendezvous. Amber Rose was still dancing there, by the way, at this same particular point in time. And me telling people that I was throwing a party way at Sue's, it was people here in Manhattan that was
It's
like,
like,
JD, I'm not going way out there. And I was like, yo, do y'all remember this? Like, people was telling me, why are you having a party way, way out at Sue's? And I'm like, now it's like everybody got their gas pedal going to Sue's, and
Sue's is close.
Connecticut
Yeah.
is the strip club. It's
Yeah.
close now, right?
Well,
That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to say that people are into the culture, man. It's just the culture in New York is exactly an adoption of Atlanta.
And you know, to have real talk about what's happening in New York and people who live here, New York has changed, right? Like a lot of people have moved out of New York because it's so expensive. A lot of people for transplants have moved in the last decade, right? So there's a lot of New York that's not even here anymore.
Yeah.
There's people who have moved to the Carolinas and Atlanta, so their family's down there. They're going to visit their family and coming back like was fun. I had fun doing that. So
Yeah.
look, man, I just want to make sure people are having a conversation because the copycats is killing me.
Well, how about
Yeah,
this?
well, I just want to make. I knew. With
and
me
I wanna point
claiming
out-
to be the mayor of Atlanta, people wanted me to address that with you. So.
Keep it coming, all y'all in Atlanta that's tight, but y'all got to get y'all bars
But
up.
Ebro, real, can I say one thing? Add one thing to that.
Yeah.
As a result of what Atlanta has become and how much it's dominated the strip club scene, the reason you're precisely wrong about. Not that you were trying to say Atlanta's like dead or anything, but the reason Atlanta's going to have a great run moving forward is because there are so many kids in Atlanta who hate that all Atlanta's known for is
hope
strip
you're
club
right.
culture.
I hope
So
you're
there's an
right.
underground in
'Cause there's
Atlanta
definitely
bubbling of some
Rory-
shit.
Oh, no,
It's
it's
definitely
definitely
Rory
that.
and
It's
them
definitely
cats
that.
is- got their bars up.
It's definitely an underground rap scene in Atlanta where the majority of the rappers rap like 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, and
They rap like 3,000 and they rap like B.O.B. Matter of fact, I got one. His name is Fresh Ali, and it's odd because they all seem to be in Decatur. But they got this whole little underground rap scene out there where they do.
I just want the bars
They
up.
rap every day.
I want the bars up, no auto tune, please.
Yeah, my
Thank you.
man. My man got his bars up. I swear.
Fresh Ali,
Jermaine,
isn't it?
Yeah.
you pointed out that there's nobody making young music.
No one.
Music.
Yeah.
Rae Sremmurd. Rae Sremmurd. They mad at me too, but
We're going through the list today.
yeah, they mad at me too. I said that they was Kriss Kross.
Yeah, you should never do that, please.
Tell me why.
Because Kriss Kross was a phenomenon. Kriss Kross sold 8 million records. Those two things alone, not to slight anybody, but when you say that somebody is somebody,
Well,
you have
that's the
to have
blueprint they're
equal-
running. Yes,
you have to- you
is the
have-
blueprint they're running the Kriss Kross blueprint.
Yeah, that's a different statement.
Okay,
But to
but they're a modern day Kriss Kross. They're a modern day Kriss Kross.
No, I'm not gonna let you do that. That's what I'm saying. I can't let you do
Not
that.
letting you do it.
I'm not letting you do that. No, I mean, because I feel like in this era of life that we live in, the internet and people that talk about music, they always slight real credible things. Like for me to put out kids that's 12 years old and they sell 8 million records. That's the hardest shit in the world to do. I dare anybody to try to do it right now.
To get 20-year-olds to listen to kids rhyme.
My guys performed at SOBs. They performed at every grimy club in New York. Kriss Kross was on the bill with Cypress Hill and real shit. Like, so I can't let you slight them. Like, these guys was hip hop.
No, I think both sides feel slighted by the comparison, because Rae Sremmurd feels like we're not a little kid act, and we're to be taken in a different way. And then Kriss Kross has to feel slighted by it too, because Rae Sremmurd's popular. Kriss Kross had kids dressing backwards to school.
Everybody
in Chevy Chase, Maryland, where I was at. That shit was a phenom.
Like Kriss Kross did something that I didn't even know, and I created them. Puff told me one night, me and him got really, really drunk, and we was in Vegas, and everybody had passed out. French, Bow Wow, everybody passed out. He and I was still going.
Why does that not surprise me? Of course you two were.
We were still going.
Competition.
And we looked around the room, and it was only me and him looking and talking to each other. And he said, JD, I'm going to tell you something. And I'm like, oh, God, this is getting ready to be bad. And what he told me was that Kriss Kross is the reason he got into music. And that blew my mind. I'd known Puff a long time. It was the first time I ever heard him say that.
And why? He was amazed by what you did? What he saw was two little black kids go all around the world and do whatever they wanted to do. And he said from that point, he knew that it was possible for him to do it.
Wow.
And he went deeper by saying, on the charts, Kriss Kross was competing with Bruce Springsteen, and not rap. We talking about artists that was selling a lot of records. These guys was like, if you heard Bruce Springsteen, you heard Kriss Kross, you heard Madonna, you heard Chris. Like, these names was like, they was in there with that.
Yeah, I don't think you could explain to kids like, I'm trying to think of what rap record right now would be the equivalent of Jump. Like how big Jump was. Jump,
Hotline Bling or something.
But it's not rap. That's not rap though.
That's a rap song.
Rapper J's.
Paris, Jay and Kanye was a rap song that went very, very real rap song.
Did Jump go #1? Billboard overall for weeks?
Of course.
For weeks and weeks? Okay. Paris didn't go #1, did it?
I think it did, yeah. I think it was like...
Will you look that up, please? I don't know if Paris was up there. And I love Paris. I mean, Paris was a great... And it was a crossover song, for sure.
The thing about Jump was that it was... It created... Like, I say this about anything. When somebody when you start walking into, like, Kmart and you see a Halloween costume, you are far beyond what anybody could ever talk about. I've seen Kriss Kross costumes. I've seen Kriss Kross everything.
Did Cross Colors come after Kriss Kross?
Nah, they was out before.
That was out before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, Jermaine, great stories, man.
This guy's got so many.
Yo, it don't stop.
So many.
It don't stop.
Yeah.
And by the way, the satisfaction that I saw in Ebro's face when I said that the comparison between Kriss Kross and Rae Sremmurd would irritate both sides equally, you looked personally satisfied. That was awesome. I managed to annoy both sides at the same time.
I love Rae Sremmurd, by the way. I love him.
They're not going to hear this part of the conversation. I went through this whole tirade about how I love him too, and it didn't matter.
I love him. I love him. I think what they're doing is great.
The reason I poke the bear and I fuck with people in hip hop is because I just feel it's a bear. Hip hop is very big.
Hip hop's a bear.
Yeah, hip hop's the bear. It's very big and they'll come for you. But the reason I feel like it's important is because that's where we come from.
Yeah.
Like we openly had these conversations about the shit that we loved or didn't like happening in our culture, and I think that's what's made it so healthy for so long.
Well, see, me, I'm on the defense because every time I do something, people got so much to say about it. So and if I make something and it's successful, I'm gonna fight to keep it as sacred as possible. And I feel like, when I put out Bow Wow, people was beefing. When I did this show right now, there's guys on the internet that said, I get messages every day. Somebody said, all this talent in the world and you decide to put this shit on TV. And I'm like, damn, like I gotta be the person to keep letting you old people that want to be young rap. No.
Yeah,
no,
why not?
I'm not gonna do that. That's another thing that I have a problem with. That the rap game itself is a very much what's the word I'm looking for? Everybody talks about being young, but they not.
Even the name Young Hove. Once Hove started calling himself Young Hove, guess what he wasn't? Young.
Everybody. I mean, everybody's young. You know what I mean? So it's like but they get mad when you help young artists. Every time I help a young artist or help somebody young, somebody always got a problem with it. Like, JD, why you always got to work with young artists? I thought this is a young situation. And by the way, the real culture in Atlanta is 100% young. That Silento, that iHeart Memphis, all them kids out there, they dance. My daughter's a teenager, so I know all the kids out there. And this is not happening in the clubs. This is happening in high schools, on the streets, lunchrooms, blah, 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 blah.
My living room.
Yeah, so it's not. So basically, like this show right now, when people that listen and they don't like that I'm doing this show's not for you. This show is for the kids that are dancing, that are turning it up, that are hitting them folks, that are all that stuff that's doing the dab.
What's the hitting them folks look like?
Hit them folks.
What's that look like? You do it?
That's this.
Oh, that's the hit them folks.
Yeah, you seen that.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and that goes, and then you hit them folks, and then you dab.
Yeah,
Right?
all that. It's all in the same.
Listen, I'm learning, man. No, I know. We're old. We learn our dances from what Cam Newton does. If you learn, because you know Cam does that before he does it.
Yeah,
we literally learn from NFL players.
Yeah.
That's how old we are. And they're old. Cam's too old. Cam's 27?
26.
And
He
then
on his
where's
way
it
out.
at?
My daughter's 17, and she like, Dad, no, listen, don't.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Don't do that.
She's gonna hate that you even just did that.
Don't do that. Don't do
Yo,
that.
you
Nah,
wanna hit
she
it on the-
loves that I tell
But don't
that
do
I
it.
keep
But
my
don't try to do it.
that she's my alert button. Like, yo, what are you doing? I be in the car with my daughter and she's driving. I'm like, hey, I don't gotta drive. Boom.
Nah, fam.
Nah. Don't do
Yo, I'm
that.
so happy to be here in my life where the kids get to make fun of you for being old and you doing their dance. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, but it's also weird. Hip
What a time to be alive.
What a time! It's a weird game though too, because JD, I think part of it is you can when you're actually a cool person and someone who's confident. Like I love being kind of already an elder statesman in hip hop. Like I think it's cool, and I love young people being young and doing what they do. Like no one really needs to try to be something else. Always the same thing. Yo, Ebro, people need to stop being assholes, man. That's
need to stop.
That's what we've come to recently.
People need to stop
being assholes.
Yeah, people should be just happy, man.
Just be happy.
Stop
to
being
have
an
fun, man.
asshole,
Just be
man.
happy.
All you
Just be
racists
happy.
and all that, stop being assholes,
Yeah,
man.
just be
Seriously,
happy.
you're solving. All you people who are angry at rappers, stop being an asshole.
Stop.
Yeah,
Racist,
just be
if you're being
happy.
racist, don't be an asshole.
Yeah, man. Let Cam dab. Stop being an asshole.
Let Cam
man. He's a
dab.
happy
Yeah.
guy, bro.
Yeah, I saw something last night where they was like on ESPN. Was it? No, it wasn't ESPN. It was a late night talk show, and they were saying that it's crazy how when the whole year before Peyton Manning got his trip to the Super Bowl, they never talk about his age, and now that he's going to the Super Bowl, it's the 37-year-old Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah.
And the 26-year-old Cam Newton. They
Well,
was
because
like,
that's
this is
the conflict.
biggest.
They
one
said
of
it's
the biggest
one of the
stretch
biggest.
between-
Well,
Huh?
and also one of the biggest social conflicts for any whether it's music, art, fashion, whatever.
Yeah.
Is ageism.
But that's what I'm saying. So, that's what I'm saying about hip hop. Hip hop is one of the most. I keep forgetting the word. What's the word? I'm thinking?
critical.
Nah, not critical.
Youthful?
Where you say something but it doesn't go. I'm sorry.
You say something, but it doesn't go.
I mean,
I'm gonna
everybody in hip hop, huh? No, never mind. Anyway, everybody in
failed.
hip hop wants to continue to be young, but they don't support the young. That's all I'm saying. So hypocritical or whatever you want to say.
I got it.
Everybody's young. It's young. This young, that. If you ask them they age, they are old. It's no artist in the hip hop game really that's 16 that's smashing it. That's 17 that's smashing it. That's 18 that's smashing it. By the way, these numbers are higher than my show, but I'm still letting people know it's not even a 21-year-old artist in the hip hop game that's smashing hip hop.
Well, and to way we started the conversation, the rap game, 5th episode on Friday, Lifetime. The way you started the conversation was pointing out that smashing the game is also our version of smashing the game, and a 17-year-old's version of what he or she thinks is smashing the game is very different. People think they smashing just because they got some followers in YouTube.
No, they know what smashing is.
You think they know the difference?
Drake is smashing the game.
Crushing.
And what's crazy, what people don't understand about Drake is Drake and Bow Wow are the exact same age.
That's crazy.
But we just known Bow Wow longer.
Yeah, you known Bow Wow longer because Bow Wow, he had a hit at 13, 12.
Bow Wow's been young forever. He's still young.
But
He's
that's
still
what I'm saying.
young.
It's like, still, once again, the person that's killing hip hop is 28 years old. What about the 25-year-old, the 24, the 18-year-old? Like that group of people is not supported. So that's all I'm here to do. You know, I put a TV show on TV, and last week we was the number 4th most talked about show on cable and Twitter. It was most tweeted. I want that number 1 spot. I need that. So I need everybody, you know, this Friday to start tweeting about the rap game.
And the BET show Moguls.
Yeah, Moguls comes on June 28th after the BET. You want to watch this show because if it's really about the hip hop that you want to, you know, Baby and Lil Wayne's relationship, it gets exposed on this. They talk about this on the show. Me and Dame Dash have a one-on-one basically that I wanted to have because I have friends that talk to me about some things that they've seen Dame do and they be asking questions. And we had a
don't be a chatty patty, bro.
Yeah, that's what he said too. He's like, so you and your homeboys is chatty patties, and I'm like, what are you talking? You're not Dame. I'm like, what
if you was a real boss, you wouldn't even have to sit down with Dame. You know what I'm saying? If you was a real boss.
You can't win an argument with Dame. Yo, you want to talk? Oh, you a chatty patty? Well, let's talk. Well, if you're a real boss, you wouldn't open your mouth.
But one of the craziest things that Dame said is that he said he didn't realize that people felt like he was a star or celebrity, and that was a little bit of an enlightenment to me, because if that's how he really thinks, then that's what the disconnect is with people talking about Dame and Dame,
him being upset that they talking.
Yeah, because I don't. From really what our conversation was, he said he didn't really know. Like he was like, people really talking about me at your studio.
Stop, Dame. Come on, man. He knows.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Stop it.
I don't know.
Dame, you was in the video dancing. Of course, people.
But he said to his defense once again, he was the quarterback, and he said as the seller, he wasn't paying attention to you paying attention to him. He was paying attention to you paying attention to his star.
That's fine.
And I believe that.
And I believe that, but that doesn't mean you know that people talk about you.
I don't.
That's why you talking.
You want to watch this show because that's what we talking about. We giving y'all real cloth talk.
Speaking of
major talk.
Major cloth talk.
Speaking of cloth talk, hammock talk, and elliptical talk.
Yeah.
One day, I want Dame Dash to come sit in that seat, because I think if Dame Dash and Ebro sit across from each other, the studio will explode.
No, it's not.
No,
I don't think so. I mean, you know why? Because
not in physical violence, but in screaming and psychotic.
Listen, the only way
Dame won't come up here because I don't own Hot 97.
No, listen,
that was the last conversation we had.
Only way that's gonna happen. And by the way, y'all can put me on record that I will bring Dame up here because we have a TV show, and I am executive producer of this show, and I'm gonna make sure that we come out and we promote this show.
And also, too,
I feel like all of us, me, Snoop, Baby, Dame, and all of that should be on
the only time I wanted to speak to Dame was when he was going on the culture vulture rant, because a lot of the people he was outing as culture vultures, he went to and supported, or they supported him to give him money to do his endeavors. I mean, I understand his argument, but I just wanted to hear from him. But since then, I haven't really had an interest.
I learned a lot from me and his conversation. I learned that this generation of people, of individuals that want to be bosses, they don't respect independentness, period. They are driven by getting money from someone else. I definitely learned that from him, because he talked about this TV show, and this was the one thing that my friends was a little disturbed by. He has a TV show that he had in Charleston that he started. That was on it was on NBC, but it was like I guess they got one of them side stations as NBC, like a public television station, right? And my friends came to the studio one night and they was like, "Yo, Dame, have you seen Dame's TV show?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, he got a TV show. He popping. He on NBC." They was like, "He ain't on no fucking NBC. This a public television network." And I'm like, my high just came down. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So then I start watching it, and it really was like how Byron Allen has his own thing, right?
He produced it, paid to produce it, and then you place it on the networks. They give you time that you pay for that time.
Okay, so you see how you just explained that?
Yeah.
I tried to explain to my friends after this conversation what that was, and they laughed like, nah.
If it wasn't legit because I was
and he told me Dame because he produced it. He's the boss of it, and he takes the
and Dame told me he made like $200,000 a week based off advertisement,
That's
right? And I'm telling my friends this, right? And these are kids, but to me, they are young guys that want to be in the music industry, that think they want to be moguls and this, that. They laughed. And I was like, you guys don't respect independentness. And I believe that that's this whole generation.
And I don't. And sometimes you're saying respect. I think also understand. 'Cause
Understand.
They don't know how the business works. They don't know how syndication
But I'm
works.
saying I
They
try to
don't-
break it down just like you, and it was like, nah, JD, nah.
If it's not on a major network, it's not avoiding.
Nah.
Yeah.
Isn't independentness really just independence?
Huh?
Exactly.
What?
I'm saying independentness isn't a thing.
Is that? Oh, I made that word up.
Yes,
Oh, I'm
independentness.
sorry.
No, Dame probably made it up, and then you said it back. But independentness is independence.
Hey, I'm hip hop, man. Don't get it fucked up.
Before
about
we
me,
let you
man.
out of here, Jermaine,
Yeah.
can you the Welcome to Atlanta where the players play? That song was so massive.
Yeah.
All right. Who was on the original version? Luda,
Me and Ludacris.
Just you and Luda.
Just them.
Yeah.
Then there was a remix.
Yeah.
Who was on the remix?
Me, Puff, Snoop Dogg, and Murphy Lee from St. Louis.
And that was and y'all still did a Welcome to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But then Puff did a Welcome to New York after
Yeah, I
that.
made it a regional. Like every person that rap had to represent their city.
At that time, was it like, nah, you got to make a certain version of Welcome to Atlanta? Like, did other regions
Nah.
put that pressure on that? You just felt like that would be
Nah,
cool
I
for
was
the song?
actually shocked that y'all liked that song.
Yeah.
I was shocked that I was in LA and Power 106 was playing my record 130 times a week. And I was like, this is amazing to me. Because I'm talking about Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, and with specific references. The whole.
Yeah, I'm
like,
not
clubs,
talking about
everything,
anything that I don't. It's nothing that makes you think like
What year was this?
I'm in LA.
2002, 1.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I mean, I was really shocked. So when I heard that, I do remixes, that just sparked my mind to be like, okay, listen, just to be safe, let's do a remix where I give everybody a chance to be a part of this record.
Yeah.
And because I felt weird about hearing Atlanta in LA.
Really?
I did. I believe.
Is that because we had that old mentality, that regional mentality? Because the reason I bring it up is because that was one of the first times where I feel like people didn't give a fuck about where the record was from or regional. Like, I feel like where we are today, people don't really care. Is it good or bad? Like, do I like it or not?
I felt really weird. And I felt that way because I was raised on New York hip hop. And New York hip hop would not have allowed that. Not that I know of.
Do you think today Atlanta DJs support New York music?
More than it was. I mean, I think it got to a point where it was just like Atlanta. But
In your opinion, what does
Millie
it take
Rock
for
goes hard in Magic City.
Right?
Yeah.
And what do you think it takes
And
for
the
an
strippers.
artist? Yeah, they're getting it. Air.
Yeah.
What does it take for an artist that's not from the South? Because if you're from the South, it's easier to move around Florida, Atlanta, and hit the Memphis, etc. If you're from the tri-state, sometimes it's hard for you to figure out how to break in on that.
I mean, I think,
9-5.
it's like I said, I have a lot of friends. Most of my friends that's in Atlanta, they all from New York. Like most of Yonkers, and they from Queens, and most of them that's at my studio, they all are from New York, and we have conversations about this. And one of the things that one of my friends talked about was that New York don't have producers.
We talk about that a
like
lot.
Atlanta.
Song makers.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's probably why. And I'm not talking about you got Swiss and you got people that's been here, but new producers, you know what I mean? Or even the Swiss or Just Blaze are the ones that we know.
Well, Swiss is doing a lot of art now. He's doing other things, right?
Yeah,
so
but
a
he's
lot of
still
those
a
cats.
beast.
He's a monster.
Yeah, that's his word. A monster. He's still a monster.
He's that guy.
And when he makes a beat, you pay attention to it, right? I think that's what these guys are, the ones that hold the blueprint to bring New York music back. And it's going to take a lot of grind. But, like if you look at the producers in Atlanta, Zaytoven, you look at like the whole 808 Mafia, them dudes is doing nothing but working. And they working with artists that don't pop. They working with artists that do pop. They working with artists that you ain't never heard of. They just keep working. They getting verses from Gucci Mane that I don't even know where the fuck these verses is coming from. They just keep making records. And he's in jail. Like, they just are not, they non-stop working. To me, though, that's a look at what a quarterback does. They are not the rappers. They the ones that's providing the beats. And I think that's where, and I think my man had a point. Like, we don't hear about New York producers. I mean, like, even 50 Cent got a new record that's produced by all Atlanta rappers. I mean, all Atlanta producers.
Yeah.
Like, where's the New York producers? Or is he not paying attention? I don't know. I can't speak on it. But I'm just saying, you know, London on the track, these guys are from Atlanta. You have to have producers. Like, Mustard in L.A., he did what I'm talking about. Somebody in New York has to do what Mustard's doing on the East Coast.
And Ty Dolla $ign from a writing, composing, everything.
You know, just take a bunch of artists, even if they're not popping. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's always been my thing. I don't know if none of the artists I ever put out are going to work. But I don't chase artists that's already established. I don't want to be on this person's album or that person's album. I'm going to make my own artist. And to me, that's the way that Mustard's doing. Like, we didn't know Ty Dolla $ign before Mustard started popping. We didn't know any of them artists, you know what I mean? And it just brought them. So I just think, to me, that's what has to happen here in this city.
Jermaine Dupri, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Great talk. Make sure you check out all his program.
Real
Major Cloth Alert.
Yeah.
Special Cloth.
Yeah.
Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah, Friday night.